Welcome back, guys, for another amazing episode of Live with Sylvia Camille. Remember, this platform was created to inspire you to believe in yourself and dream big. So I have an awesome and amazing show for you tonight. But you know what your girl's got to give you? What? A word of the week. And the word of the week is courage. Do you know what courage means? Like the Lion and the Wizard of the Oz. That's when you just don't let nothing bother you. You jump over that hurdle as fast as you can, because you know what? You're not gonna let fear or anything like that. You're gonna have the courage to walk in your purpose this week. So no matter what's going on in your life, if someone getting on your nerves, or hey, they said no to your book publishing, whatever it is, just have the courage to go back and sit down and try it all over again. All right, guys, I have a special guest for you all today, and it's my big brother Javon Johnson, who's been rocking the streets on Netflix on Lincoln Lawyer with 2-point-some billion views. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And before we get started, we're gonna watch a reel so we can introduce your journey.
Okay. All right.
Why don't you tell me your story?
We believe this was written by the girl's chaperone before they were all taken.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Arrangements have been made for you to use our club as a guest per our exchange program with your home club in Pennsylvania.
Oh, hey, man. How you holding up?
Sam, I don't think I'm holding up at all.
What can we say? What can we say? So, Jay, you know I call you Jay. I call him Jay, guys. Wait, Mr. Javon Johnson. You are a husband.
Mm-hmm.
You are a father.
Yeah.
You are a director. You are a producer.
Yeah.
You are a founder of a school. How does one who was born in Anniston, South Carolina, 29,600, the population, you come from a small town.
Yeah.
How does a young black male get on Lincoln Lawyer, the #1 show right now on Netflix, with over, 3-point-some, how many views?
Yeah.
Billion views.
Yeah, something crazy.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your journey. Where did it start?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's just, we're talking about me, but it's a lot of people who you may or may not be aware of that are from small towns who might not put that out there that way. Like, Viola Davis from South Carolina, from St. Matthews, and Michael Coulter, who was did the Marvel series, Charlemagne the God. Chadwick Boseman was from Anderson, South Carolina. It's my hometown boy. So, Chad and I are close friends. So for me, my journey, coming up in Anderson, South Carolina, it wasn't black boys. We didn't talk about being actors and writers and directors and filmmakers. We was either on the block, or we was running a football or shooting a basketball, or we was in the textile automotive industry. BMW is a good life, a good option. You know what I mean? So I initially was going to play football in college.
But you fumbled the ball.
I didn't fumble. But I realized once we started, going through the college recruitments, I realized I like playing the sport with my homeboys. I didn't really like it as a option to go to college and even think about going to the NFL. I was a wide receiver, so I was like, during that time, I was like, if I get to the NFL, there's Ray Lewis waiting for me. And I don't want to spend my life running from Ray Lewis. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't want to do that. So I was going to go into the textile industry and commit to 30, 40 years of that. My high school choir director, Miss Laura Keith, stopped me in my hallway my senior year, and she said, "You're going to college." But my family, we didn't. I grew up on my mom's side of the family. We were all high school diploma or less. So college wasn't the thing I was talking about doing. And she said, "You're going to go to South Carolina State University," and that was HBCU. And
HBCU.
Yeah, and I was like, Lincoln. I didn't know why, and she got me a choir scholarship. I'm not Sylvia Camille. I can't sing.
We're gonna get a note out of you.
Yeah, I can't sing. So I went home and told my mom I'm going to college. She looked at me like, what? I was like, yeah, I got a scholarship from, South Carolina State. So I go to South Carolina State. I'm on the choir. If you know anything about the South Carolina State choir, it is nationally recognized. I'm on this choir with people that can actually sing.
Well,
I didn't know if I was a tenor or a baritone. And I'm looking left and right. I'm like, I don't know if I belong in this space. And there was a big theater building called the Henderson Davis Theater that was sitting there, and that building kept calling me. And I ultimately went to that building, changed my major, became the theater president, and that was the start of that path for me. The commitment path. In high school, I did speech and debate, which kind of tapped at me a little bit, and that's when I credit Danny Glover performance in Color Purple as the piece that inspired me, because I didn't know anything about acting, and I was competing with a scene from A Raisin in the Sun.
It sounded like you had courage, the word
Well,
of the week.
I didn't have courage in any of this. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know I had talent. I didn't know I had a voice at this point. It was several things that happened that made me realize the power that I had that I didn't know I was gifted with. But I didn't know what it was. So I was terrible. A friend of mine asked me to do the speech and debate tournament because her partner dropped out on her mid-season, and she was like, "Hey, you could do it." I was a school clown. She thought I could. I said, "Yeah, I'll do it for you." And we started competing, and we get scored separately. Her scores were high. My scores were low. And I could see the disappointment on her face because she was used to being competitive at these speech and debate tournaments. And I said, I don't know what to do. I'm letting her down. And I was watching The Color Purple, and I had the scene from A Raisin in the Sun next to me. And I was watching Danny Glover, and I said, I don't know what this is, but I got to do it that way. And I just did whatever I thought I was doing. And that year we was state runner-up, and the following year we won the state championship.
Go on and give us a little bit. Go on and give us
I don't.
Go on and give us
That was in the 90s.
Nah.
But even then, I didn't really claim it as anything, So long story short for me, in terms of your question, I was not the pilot of this journey. I was just a passenger, and I didn't get in the way. And I had faith that somewhere down the line, there was a reward for something that I was being called to do. And I didn't know, I didn't decide what I wanted. I didn't decide how. I just said, you know what, I'm being guided. I don't know where it's supposed to go. I don't know if it was going to end up in legal lawyer or anything else. I just knew that there's power in this thing, and I have space to explore and be creative, and that's what I committed to.
And you've done a marvelous job. Don't you all think so?
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not over yet.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
No.
I mean, it could end there, but no, of course not. We have to keep on going.
Absolutely.
All right, but I still want to ask, because a lot of people don't know, you were on Broadway too. Talk about that piece. Because a lot of people don't know that. That's why I want the viewers and everybody to know more than just what they see with Javon.
Yeah, a lot of people, I mean, the television, the acting thing is the most visible, right?
Right.
And so a lot of people, when they see me, they only think
Right.
one aspect of it. But I spend the bulk of my time as a writer, as a teacher, and I come from theater.
Right.
And there was, my blood, sweat, and tears are in theater, not in television and film. So that's my roots. Founding member of Congo Square Theater Company in Chicago. I just lived. I used to sleep in the theater in college.
I want them to know. I want them to know all of that, Jay. That
so,
side of you that I already know, because, like you said, when people are watching you, they think that's all. That's just one dimensional of you.
Yeah.
But there's so many different
Yeah,
sides.
you have to understand that there's a lot of legwork that go into people who have successful careers in this business. It's not an easy industry. I mean, you look at some people may be aware of how long it took Morgan Freeman and Sam Jackson to really hit. But Sam and all them was together with Denzel at the same time in theater.
Right.
Delroy Lindo is now talking about, how him and Denzel was back in the day, started out together, and Denzel kind of took off. But Delroy was working hard. He's just getting recognized now for Sinners. But there's a lot of work behind the scenes for people who really are dedicated to this thing and dealing with this industry and really getting to a point where they really take off. So there's a lot of history that people don't get to be privy to. That people,
And you just see what we see on TV.
And we just see, the results, but we don't see what it took to get there.
Right. I want to go to the history with you and Chad Boseman. Talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Tell everybody.
Well, Chad and I, from the same hometown, Anderson, South Carolina. Chad was 3 years younger than me, so I didn't really know him as we was growing up because I dealt with his older relatives.
Right.
So, when I went to the University of Pittsburgh, my roommate who graduated from Howard, because Chadwick went to Howard.
Right.
He came to me, he said, man, there's only one other person I know that's in theater from Anderson, South Carolina. And I said, get out of here, you don't know anybody from Anderson, South Carolina that's in theater. I'm the only person out here doing it from Anderson. He said, no, I gotta take you to Howard, man, you gotta meet this guy. I didn't know who he was talking about. So, open the dorm, I walk in there, and I'm like, Chad. He's like, Chad. I say, oh!
What's up?
So I think he was like a sophomore at Howard at the time, but that was a point that we really connected. And from that point on, it was just, you know, I worked for him, he worked for me. I originated a role in his, a lot of people don't know he's a playwright. His play Deeper George is open at the Shakespeare Globe in London, just like past week. So hopefully that'll get to Broadway so people can know that side of him, as well as he didn't get to direct, which is one of his major passions, was directing. But I acted in his plays, he acted in my plays, we created together. A lot of people don't know that I think he only directed he was really aspiring to be a director, but I think he only directed 2 pieces. One was during his time at Howard, and then the last one was a short film that I wrote a few years before he passed, which we shot in LA. I wrote it for him to star in it, but he read it and he was like, I want to direct it, so we argued about it quite a bit. And if you know,
and he won.
Yeah, he won. I mean, I was like, no, man, who's gonna get to play the role, Chad? No, we'll find somebody. We have auditions, so we had auditions, and we cast Walter Fauntleroy, who is Sam on The Oval.
Oh.
Who plays my best friend, The Oval, and he did the part, and Chadwick directed that. So yeah, we had a long.
So how
history.
important is it to keep his legacy alive? Because just recently, 2 months ago, we had a first foundation.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, for me, Chad was the biggest star to come out of that community, and I don't think my hometown does enough to honor him for how, you know. If you look at his career, he did in a short amount of time what a lot of people who have 30, 40 years in the industry have not done. The type of roles he played back to back like that, the biopics, what he accomplished, and then you know, the Black Panther, like he operated at a high level consistently for a very short period of time. So he had like a 40-year career in like a short period of time. That speaks tremendously to his integrity and to his commitment and his work, because this industry doesn't allow Black men to do that. You know what I mean? He had to say no to a lot of things just to say yes to the right things. And that takes courage to do that, because that also comes with courage, comes sacrifice. You have to sacrifice, and you have to have such a high degree of faith that you don't deter from that, and know that, hey, I can walk in my purpose and I'll be rewarded. And that was Chadwick Boseman.
Snap. Come on, snap for those nuggets. Jay, for those nuggets. All right, you know what everyone sitting here wants to know?
What's that?
How did you get the role of Richard on the Tyler Perry's The Oval?
I got it like everybody, every other actor.
Everybody don't know that now. The streets be saying y'all all connected by the hip, and
no,
that's my brother cousin and all that.
Okay,
so let's set the record straight.
So the you know, the industry is what it is. There's some nepotism in relationship. You know, you know, a part of it is talent, but a larger part is who you know. You know, for the most part. But this particular situation, I almost didn't go in to audition. And the reason why is because at that time, when I received the audition, I had played so many pastors that I said, I'm done playing pastor. I told my agent, I said, you know, people were writing pastor roles for me. And people thought I was, you know, I'll go to Walmart and look, baby, what church you pastor?
Javon Johnson and me.
Yeah, I'm not a pastor. No, baby, I know, because I was there. You pastored that church. Baby, what's this church, this man? And I was like, no, I'm not a pastor. And so I called my agent and said, I'm not taking any more pastor auditions. And then, so when the Oval came, it said butler. Well, for me, I'm like, that's not much between a butler and a pastor. So I'm like, I'm not gonna go in for this. And then I saw Raven Drummer on that casting, and I said, you know, I haven't seen Raven in about a year. So I really went in just to get in the room with Raven Drummer. I didn't go in to book a role. And
how many people do that?
It's a lesson to learn. So I go in, I do the audition, and crazy thing happened. I think like on a Friday morning, I get a phone call, and I'm not a morning person, so I'm like, who calling me this one in the morning? So I checked the message. I let it ring, because I didn't recognize the number. It was Atlanta number. I let it ring. Then it went to voicemail. I said, let me see who left the message. And it was like, oh, this is Tyler Perry calling. And I said, you know, Tyler calling me. I said, Tyler ain't even got my number. You know, so I went back. I was going to go back to sleep. But I'm a jokester. So I said, oh, you know, whoever messing with me, I'm about to mess with them, right? So I called the number back, and I'm ready to clown. And it was like, nah, it was Tyler. I was like, oh, I got to wake up, because I'm like half awake. I was like, oh, he's talking to Tyler. Okay, hey, what's going on? So he started talking about this role, Richard, and just give me the layout. And I was actually more interested in the Donald role, if you know the show.
Oh, you
At
want
the
to be
time.
Donald?
Not, well, I thought I did.
Nah, you don't want to be Donald.
No, so
Stop, Jay.
so he tells me about 20 minutes, he's talking about Richard in the Oval and that character.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said at the end of it, I was like, yeah, okay, that's great. I said, what about this Donald role? He said, no, you don't want to do that.
He knew you.
I said, oh, okay, all right. I left it alone. But now I see the show. I'm
Yeah,
like,
no, like,
hey, right, I
okay.
didn't want to do that. But that was just the first audition. So the next one we went to the callback, which was like a boot camp because it was all day and he was casting Sisters and Oval at the same time. So we had people from LA and like
Talk
at
about that
TPS.
process.
That was like 12 hours. And it was
Ooh.
it was different because we normally don't cast that way. But he was casting two new shows, and that was I haven't seen Walter since we shot the short film, and I think about 7-8 years, and I saw him that day because he was there. Came in from LA to audition. So we spent about 12 hours there at the TPS. Everybody was, and I was up there casting everybody else. I was like, oh, that person, like, he could be the butler. I'm like, I definitely cast him as the butler. I didn't even consider myself, you know. So at the end of it all, they called a bunch of names out and said, follow us upstairs. And so I was on one of the names that was called. We was upstairs. They said, hey, Tyler's gonna come in and talk to you guys, you know, in a few. So y'all just hang tight. So we all in the room. We didn't know what was going on. And after a while, he was like, he'll be here in 5 minutes. And he was like, okay, 5 minutes. And then be 15 minutes, like, he'll be here in about 10. I was like, and then at some point, we like, I don't think Tyler coming to see us.
Y'all
They keep coming in and saying, and then finally he came in. He said, you know, thanked us for the long day and then sticking it through. And he says, welcome to the Oval. And everybody passed out.
Nice. Everybody passed out.
Started twerking and stepping
What you
and all
do, Jay?
kind of
What you
stuff.
do? What you do?
You know, I'm chilling.
Yeah, you always be chill.
But yeah, that's how it went.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. First season rap party, after we shot the first season, I was sitting there talking to Tyler. And you know, I had done Daddy's Little Girls and I did House of Pain, but these was years before this.
Right.
And I asked him, you know, something about, you know, casting me, and he said, "Oh no, I knew." He said, "I knew that I was going to work with you on a higher level when I first worked with you years ago." Because I asked him, I said, "What took you so long?"
Tell him, Jay, what's taking me so long?
Yeah,
we already did them.
He said I had to wait for the right role, the right thing, right opportunity. He said,
Right.
but the point is, you never know who's watching you, and how you move is your reputation, and it's also how you get your next gig. And I didn't know this man. I did it as a girl. It was a small role. It was like
Right.
I was Brenda's husband, but it wasn't a big part. It was just who knows he's looking at me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then House of Pain was a little guest star role, but
And Medea's boo.
and then Medea's Boo. But it was like these are
Small
roles. So,
Right.
and he never said anything to me, and we never had conversations like that. But he was watching.
Never
never know.
underestimate small beginnings.
You never know. You never
You
know.
never know.
Yeah.
Clock that.
Yeah. You never know.
I can clock that with you, Jay. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Bare Fruits Conservatory.
Mm.
As a teacher of the craft, what do you look for in your students?
I don't know.
Well, we're not going to talk about me when you
But
first started. We'll talk about that last.
well, you hard headed, so we ain't gonna talk about that. You know, when it comes to teaching, the one thing that has to be there, you have to have something that says, I want to do, like, I have to do this. I have to do this. You know what I mean? If you just curious about it, because the work and the commitment it takes to really do it, and that's why I teach from. All teachers don't teach from that. Some teachers just teach you to act, and that's good. You pay and you go about your business, but I don't teach for that. I teach to get you in alignment, to get you to discover what your purpose is, and have that faith walk, and then you have to put in that work. And for you to do that, you really got to know that this is my calling. This is what I have to do. This is my identity is in this, my power, my voice is in this. And this is not just a dream for me. It's something I have to manifest into reality. I have to have that because I can't teach you any of the things you're going to need if you don't come to me with that.
So when did Javon Johnson know that?
I knew.
Were you 16,
No,
18
no, it was
when you walked out of
it was a lot of connect the dot moments. It was a lot of connect the dots moments for me because, like I say, I wasn't claiming this. I wasn't
Right.
claiming. Even when I started writing, I started writing out of nowhere. I took a job in Louisville, Kentucky, and I took a semester off from school to work that job. I think it was my sophomore year. I had never been out of South Carolina, and I had never been away from people I knew. That was the first time I was alone. And I had a beige apartment with no furniture for like the whole winter.
You were sleeping on the floor, brother.
No, I had a little, I might have been. No. But I had a Sega Genesis I stole from my little sister. It was bad. But I had nothing to do after the tour because we toured high schools. And so the rest of the day I had nothing to do because I didn't know anybody in Louisville, Kentucky. And these voices started to happen. Now, man, I had never experienced this, and I'm black, so I ain't tell nobody because they're gonna say you're crazy. So I didn't tell anybody. But these characters and stuff started coming, and these things started to play, and I was like, well, I don't know. So I resisted it for a long time. Then it wouldn't let me go, and then I wrote it by pencil, the entire story, and then I rewrote it in ink because I was like, this pencil ink is not gonna last. So I rewrote it in ink. Then I went and bought a word processor, and at that time it was one of those floppy disks.
How old were you? May we ask?
I was a sophomore in undergrad
Okay.
at that time. But I'm doing all this, and I
Right.
had an out-of-body experience. I was watching myself at the Target checkout line saying, what are you doing? And I was buying like a $400 word processor. At the time, that's a lot of money for me, but I was working on a little tour show. And everything was happening kind of spiritually and organically. And I was just like questioning everything. So it's in retrospect that I look back and I see how the dots were connected. So there was several things that happened that made me really lock into this. One was being when I did a play in undergrad at South Carolina State, and my dad came to see it with the family. Family brought because my dad was alcoholic most of his life. And he came to the play, and I remember being on stage, and I looked out there and I saw he was asleep. And that was the moment that I realized, I don't need him anymore. I didn't need his validation. I didn't need his presence. I recognize he's my father, he's my dad, but I felt like, as a young black man, I don't have to look to him because he's not capable, right? And so that was a transition for me in my spirit to kind of claim myself. And so the next moment was I played Corey in August Wilson's Fences. If you guys know Denzel Washington's adapting all those.
Right.
So I played Corey. I had never done a piece of work that made me feel the spirit of being an African-American in America at that time after doing that play. It woke me up.
Those words wake you up.
It woke me, the play woke me up, and I felt like I met August Wilson before I met him. I ended up meeting him several times, and he ended up coining me his protege, as a writer. So we had a relationship down the line. But I told him, I met him, I said, I felt like I met you before I met you because it was such a profound effect on me. So it's these moments that just got me to the position where I could say, you know what, this is who I am, this is where I belong, and this is what I should be doing. And I finally did accept it.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to go back though, because as a talk show host, as we listen to our guests' questions and things, my mind is running.
I got you.
I want to just tap in just real quick. We don't have to, because a lot of black males struggle with that, not having a father figure to go and say, okay, look and see what I'm doing.
Right.
Is there still a relationship there, or what advice would you give to a young black male who might be watching, or somebody in the audience, and they don't have that
I'll say this.
to push forward, to have courage and go on with your life?
Yeah, well, he's since passed on. He pretty much drank himself to death. A lot of my family members, they drink themselves to death.
That's why Thelma drunk.
Yeah. But I'll say this. So that, once I had that moment, it was a release for me. I didn't really need it anymore, so I could stand on my own at that point, right? But one thing, because even in my teaching, I have to address this a lot of times, is that because people have titles don't mean they fit the position, right? And so mom is mom, dad is dad, but at the end of the day, family is whatever it is in its authentic way, because family doesn't have to be the people that gave birth to you, right? Because everybody can't honor that position.
That's good.
Right? And so you have to recognize where alignment is. And alignment is you recognize and respect that, hey, you're my mom, I get that, but you're actually not the best person for me.
Jesus.
You're not the best person for my dreams. You're not the best person for support. You're just the best person. You cook some macaroni and cheese, I'll tear that up. I'll be there for you. But you have to understand, and it's that separation, because so many people latch on too much to that's mama, I gotta do, and mama ain't right. Daddy ain't right. And some of us have our own traumas that have not been healed, and they're projected onto our kids, and we don't recognize the damage that we're doing. But as young people, you just have to know what's healthy and what's not, and you respect your family, your biological family, but you also got to know that that they shouldn't be a burden or anchor to your own personal life and your own journey.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a speaker for Black History?
No.
Are you going to come to Continental Colony and speak a career day?
No.
But we've been begging you to come. Because you heard on the
Come
street
through.
they closing down school. Yes, darling. They're giving me the wrap up
Be
signal.
good.
Wait a minute, honey, a minute, people. Okay. Well, I got to talk about this, okay? Because you are an actor, you're a writer, and you're a producer. I want to know, what's your take on these vertical shorts? And tell everybody what it is. What's the controversy? Are you agree with it?
Well,
Are
here's
you
the thing.
controversial about it?
Well, I don't know what the controversy is. It's like Sanctified, right?
Okay.
Sanctified is all about the old and the new. It's about evolution of things, right? Nothing stays static, right? Nothing stays. Is this for me or you?
It's for you, I think.
Yeah, 1 2 1 2.
Go
Then
on.
there was God.
There was God.
Nothing stays static, right? This is a creative space, right? And there's no bounds to it, right? So it's about being less resistant and more open to allow things to evolve. So I don't fight, the technology. I don't fight the new way of doing things, right? It's when you try to hold on to what has been always and you can't move. That's when you have criticisms and you have issues. But it's like as an artist, you should always be in a constant state of growth and expanding yourself. So
Yes.
I look at it as a means of, hey, how can I work on that platform and do what I do without it being, I'm sitting back, oh, those verticals ain't nothing, and those people not real, and it's not, you got time to do that. There's a lot of money being made in verticals.
All right, I got to ask you 2 more questions, team, please. 2 more questions, team. I've got to ask Javon this. What is your biggest dream? And who would you like to collaborate with?
Oh, wow, man, that's too many people. That's too many
Okay,
people.
2 people.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey Wright. I love Delroy Orlando. I did something with him in Alaska many years ago. Like, it's not the obvious people because it's the people that's grinding and really underrated that I really connect with. What was the other question? You forgot? My biggest dream?
Yeah, your biggest dream.
I think I'm in it.
That's a blessing. How many people can say that?
Yeah, I'm in it.
Your biggest dream, you're already in it.
Yeah, I'm in it.
How many people can say that? That's amazing. That's right. That's applause. It's okay, Jay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're in it.
I'm in it.
And this is what the platform is for people to listen. You're already in it.
Right.
So that's okay. I'm halfway in mine. I mean, I'm teetering it. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
All right, what's some new projects coming down the pipe? Guys, you are Stuttering Preacher. And y'all might see live with Sylvia Camille in it for a hot 10 seconds.
Yeah, we got the Stuttering Preacher just released on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. So make sure you guys check that out. It's a satirical comedy. It's a little different. For me, it was a play in LA that I did about 15 years ago. And I asked my buddy to write it as a screenplay so we could produce it. And he decided to do that. But it's a curveball. It's like, let me show, because in theater, you get to see the range, right? But in television and film, sometimes you get locked into certain types.
Right.
And so this is something to show people, hey, I know what you think I am,
but this is.
but you don't know
Let them know,
all the
like
other stuff.
Like what T.I. said, let them know.
Yeah, so I said, let me do something so far left just to throw a curveball. I'm gonna come back around to back over here, but yeah, that's what that is. And then we got Pulpit Pimpin' play I'm developing out of Texas. We're prepping for a tour, so if you hear about that one. And then of course Sanctified, I'm always looking to bring that back. So just be on the lookout.
I love it. Final question, because EJ giving me the eye. EJ.
Oh, EJ, always messing
Javon.
it up. Yeah.
Out of everything that you've shared with us, what would you tell the 16-year-old Javon, 16 and below?
I wish he had recognized it sooner. I was very patient, but sometimes I'm a Pisces, so they say Pisces can procrastinate.
Yeah.
So when I look back on it, I say, man, if you really claimed it much sooner, no regrets. But
Right.
if I was to say something like,
Right to
man,
him.
look, man, recognize what this is,
And
lock in, and really go for it. I kind of like passively went with it. I had to get all these signs and stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's like that
You know,
sometimes.
yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah, but I'm good now.
Yeah, you're good because you're in the dream.
Yeah,
You're in the dream.
absolutely.
Oh, Javon, we
Thank
are
you.
so thankful that you came to share this time with us on Live with Sylvia
Thank you.
Camille.
Thank you.
You have inspired us. Were you all inspired
Thank
to believe in yourselves and to dream big? Now, we have a special treat, Javon, that you do not know, and also in the audience. Feel underneath your chair 3 lucky
You got
dreamers
a
out
card.
there.
You got a card.
You should have a card or something underneath your chair, and you're going to get the chance to ask Javon one question. One question.
Well, first and foremost, it's nice to meet you. I'm Trevante, and I'm an actor as well. What do you do when you are like in a waiting season and you've been like going at it for such a long time, and you may have, of course, I know it comes with rejection,
Right.
but what do you do just to kind of keep going, like when you're in that waiting season?
It's interesting because these questions.
You experienced all of them.
Well, because I teach, and I teach differently. I teach mindset. I teach spiritual, emotional, and mental welfare, right? And who you are, because that's the piece that has to deal with the industry. And the industry is by design will tear you apart. And right, some of these questions are things that I deal with my students because they're coming in. These questions are a reflection of what the industry already is. And the training is about separating yourself from the toxicity of the industry in terms of how you think, right? So there is no waiting period. There is no rejection. That is an industry idea, right? So you're going to get no's, but you can't translate those as rejections. Those are things along the path that are guiding you to where you're supposed to be, right? So if I'm auditioning 100 times and I don't get a gig, am I looking at I've been rejected 100 times? Absolutely not. I'm saying I had 100 opportunities to develop myself and to learn something and to make an impression and to build a relationship, right? So that's the difference. You got to make those mental adjustments so you don't get caught up, because once you audition 100 times and you think you got rejected 100 times, now you second guessing yourself and saying, should I be doing this? Oh, my cousin was right, said I was never going to make it. And all these things start to creep in. Then you're like, man, let me go take some stuff and get in the gym and get jacked. Let me work on myself. And then all superficial, and then you toxic and don't even know you lost yourself, right? So that's what I would say to you, brothers. None of it's rejection. Everything's a part of the journey, right? That's right.
Hello. So you talked about preparing yourself in terms of mindset. I want to know, how do you get into character for especially a lot of the emotional, intense scenes that you've been a part of? How do you prepare yourself?
Every character demands something different from you. The goal is to make yourself, your instrument, available for all of them, which means I have to deal with Javon, right? I have to deal with what my blocks are, what my insecurities are, and I have to exercise those things so that my instrument is ready to give any character I play emotionally. Because I believe that any person should be able to play any character. Because we're human beings and we've experienced every possible emotion we're going to experience in different colors and different situations. So that means you're emotionally equipped to play any character. Technically, you might not be able to, because I've never been an astronaut. I got to do research. But the emotional side, the human side of that character, I should be able to do that because I'm a human being and I've experienced every possible. If you think about it, a child, an infant has experienced every possible emotion a human being can experience. And so if you understand that, then you understand, well, why don't I have access to it? Well, because that Negro dogged me out. And now I don't want to let nobody know how I really feel, because I don't want the next Negro to dog me out. So I just shut down and block. And then when I become an actor and I get a role, and then I'm like, I don't believe it. Well, why don't you believe it? I'm doing it. Well, no, I don't believe it because you ain't fully accessing it, because you've been hiding it for 20 years because the dude did you wrong. Right? And that's the piece in terms of getting ready, is the journey of preparing myself to get past myself so I can be available for all characters.
Woo! This is Javon Johnson 101 acting class, live with Sylvia Camille. Love it, love it, love it. All right, guys, guess what?
What's that?
We are sponsored, we are partnered with Georgia Gifts and More. Will you please bring that for us? Georgia Gifts and More.
I got a basket.
Jay,
Huh? I'm getting a basket for Georgia Gifts and More. You know how much those baskets cost?
I know they cost a whole lot of money, and they are partnered with Live with Sylvia Camille. Yeah. So our guest is going to receive his basket. We are so grateful and thankful. Let's give it up for our partner with Georgia Gifts and More.
Yeah.
From your little sister.
That's a real tin can too, boy. Look at that.
Now, the only thing I'm going to say real quick, because I know we got to wrap, we got to do the intro again, then get ready for the next show. But I just have to tell you all, guys, that Javon took a chance on Sylvia Camille.
I did.
He took a chance on me, and I was the lead in his play,
Yeah, When Love Calls.
When Love Calls. And, you know, big brother, I just thank you so much because you taught me a lot. You gave me courage because, you know, I was like, oh, God, you know, because I was in a different space. I had acted before, but if you go back to episode 1 of Live with Sylvia Camille, you will hear the story, okay? Yeah. So you just got to wait till it drops. On my YouTube channel, make sure y'all subscribe today, okay? Yeah. And you'll hear the story about me auditioning with Javon. But I just want to tell you publicly in front of our audience that I thank you so much, and everything that he said is so true. It's so true.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Living and walking in the dream with my big brother. He might be up here and I might be here, but that's all right. We both living it. We living in the dream together.
We all up there.
We all up there. Javon Johnson, what can we say, guys? That interview touched my heart, my spirit, and my soul. Any actor, any person who has a dream, it's never too late. You heard it from Javon Johnson yourself. This was Live with Sylvia Camille, and I want you to continue to do what? Live your dream.